All right, what's the word, Cosmic Family? What's the word, y'all? Your boy just got off for work, man, and I'm filled with some creative ideas, right? So, today's topic is modern day slavery, right? Modern day slavery. Now, a lot of people don't believe that we are still slaves today because they do not see any shackles on our feet or, chains on our wrists, right? But what if I told you that you do actually still see shackles on the wrist and chains on your feet? You actually still do. It's just not what it used to look like, right? See, the chains that were released from our minds, or the chains that were, my bad, the chains that were released from our, ankles and our, wrist and shit like that were replaced with mental chains. And these mental chains, exist in forms of belief systems, right? Stereotypes, right? And I even say lineage, right? A lot of change that we experience right now as people exist, in our lineage. A lot of this shit that we going through, right? Especially the, you know, the trauma, right? Especially the emotional responses to certain things, right? A lot of that shit, man, come from our ancestors, right? A lot of those chains came from them, right? And those chains were just passed down to us, right? And these again are not physical chains, but these are mental chains, right? Emotional responses to things, right? So basically, these emotional responses basically allow us to feel the exact same way or similar feelings to how our ancestors felt about, each other, right? And if we go back to the foundation of America and slavery, right, they taught us to hate ourselves. They taught us to hate ourselves in ways beyond just the physical, right? They taught us to hate our culture and where we came from, right? They taught us to hate our language, right? And we have to, realize that today, though today we may speak English, though today we may, show compassion towards our brother, towards our fellow sister, right? We still have this mental and emotional nudge towards actually despising our sister and harming our brother only because it's like we have never looked at the problem from within. We only look at the problem on the outside. We can say 100 million things on why we don't like black men, 100 million things on why we don't like black women, right? But we can't give two reasons on why we love black women. We can't give two reasons on why we love black men outside of the physique, outside of the physical, right? Very few people can say reasons why they admire their sister, their fellow black sister, or why they admire their fellow black brother, right? We have not hit the love pinnacle yet, right? It's like we barely even show each other kindness type shit, right? So, you know, love, right? We've been taught not to love ourselves for so many motherfucking years that it has manifested as an excuse not to or to want to change our outward appearance. Right now, we want our black women to wear weave. Right now, we want our, black women to have this and that, right? And it's the same thing with the men. Now they want black men to be this tall. Now they want black men to make this much money, right? Everything about how black men and black women associate with each other is on a physical infatuation rather than a spiritual infatuation or a mental or even emotional infatuation, right? And that's kind of what's really, getting us in this hole, I feel like, man. I feel like that's what modern day slavery is, right? The chains are not on our hands and feet no more. The chains are on our minds. The chains, right, manifest as, us believing that our people are only this. Rappers, basketball players, right? The chains manifest in, us wanting to change our outward appearance just so we can feel loved by a motherfucker that's only looking at the shit that they like, right? We change our outward appearance, right? Something that we're supposed to love just to please a motherfucker that may like your hair, a motherfucker that may like your nails, right? Just crazy shit. We only look at the outside of people nowadays. We only worry about how big your ass is. We only worry about shit, how much money a motherfucker making, right? Come on, man. It's crazy. Like, we lost that deep love for each other, that deep compassion for each other. We lost that shit. Shit, we really lost it, man. Shit, it's 11:25 at night. Some of the mental chains, right, that I still feel is the chain of not being able to do, I wouldn't even say do as one pleases, because I mean, if I wanted to go walk to the park right now, I can do that, right? I don't know. Most High Divine Creator of all things, Most High Divine Creator of all things, I just want to just talk to you right now. Like, let me find the God in me and let me communicate with that God. Let me find the God in me. Let me communicate with that God. May I find the God in me and communicate with that God. These chains really are mental. Right, every last single one that we face, man, they're mental chains. Right. I feel like I need to recite the laws of the universe, just so that I understand exactly what's governing me, man. Like, we don't really understand the laws of the universe, and I got all these damn notebooks and shit. I got a whole YouTube video, right, explaining the 12 universal laws. But it's like, I don't feel like I've dwelled back in that information. I don't feel like I dove back in that information. Like, at one point in time, I was always looking up the 12 laws of the universe and, really just kind of applying myself to this, higher knowledge thing. Now it's like, I just been living, right? not necessarily forgetting, but experiencing, right? You know, we don't have to know everything. We just have to know enough about ourselves. Like, you cannot read a book to tell you how you're supposed to live life. You cannot watch a video on YouTube to tell you how to, connect to your spirit. Like, you just can't. Like, everything comes from within. Even understanding, like, a book would not help you understand shit. Right? The understanding has to come from within. And understand right? To understand something. To understand something, I believe, is a double-edged sword. Because you can not only just mentally know it, but you have to physically know it too. And spiritually know it. Like, we have to know things from different levels. Like, the shit has to have depth. I guess you can say understand. Understand. Under anything, right? Under the ground, under the table. You are in something, right? You are in the depth of something if you are under something. You are in the depth of something if you are under it, right? And to stand, right, means in a way to stand on what you are, submersed in, right? To stand what you are, under, right? Whether that's under pressure, right? Whether that's under anything, right? But to stand the depth of something, I believe, right? And that was just my own definition to understand, right? Right? To understand anything is to have depth, right? You have to first know it, right? Like, I saw this reel today that had said, the first thing to not the first thing, but it was saying, like, the only way to know an answer is to understand the question or something. It said, it was something like that. Like, the only way to know the answer is to understand the question. Right? And these two little girls had asked this, statue or something like that, right? Alien like, right? They had asked it, what was the meaning, what was the key to life, or some shit, right? What was the key to life? What was the meaning of life in the universe, right? And then the thing, had gave it an answer. It was like 42, right? That's when they was like, what, right? That's when the big statue and thing was like, oh, well, the first, key to understanding, the first key to finding out a answer is understanding the question or something. She didn't say it in those exact words, but that's how I can remember it, right? You have to first understand the question, right? You have to first understand the question, and then you'll figure out the answer. And maybe in life, right, we have these questions about ourselves, right? Like, I have these questions about myself. Like why am I so different? Or why do I feel so different? Why do I feel, just so out of touch with people? Do I understand the question first? I'm asking myself, why do I feel so out of touch with people? Feel out of touch with people. The key to understanding an answer, the key to finding out an answer is understanding the question. Why do I feel so, withdrawn from people? Probably because you're withdrawn. What's the opposite of withdraw? I would say draw in. Right? So you have to first understand the question in which you are asking yourself. Oh, I'm asking myself, why am I so ugly? That's not a real question, by the way, but hypothetically speaking, some people out here are asking themselves, why don't they have, or why don't they look good? Probably because you spend too much time looking good. Why don't I look good? Good look, don't I? Right? You can first, it's like you're comparing yourself, right? You're first comparing yourself to what you think looks good, right? And a lot of times maybe it's our own brains playing tricks on us. Like, our brain isn't just a bunch of fucking nerves, right? I would say probably change your, definition on what good looking is. Right? I feel like if you can clearly see your nose, if you can clearly see your eyes and your mouth, you are a good looking person. You look like a person. I mean, you don't look like a fucking fish, right? You don't look like a fish, right? But I mean, there's some people out here that probably do. But does a fish look ugly? No. You just different. Right? But that was all I had to say today, man. Try to be at peace, so I share.